Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want. And today, I just got off of a cruise. It was my 27th cruise, and it wasn't my best cruise because my actual best cruise was when I met my recent husband 2 years ago, yesterday. But it was good. Of course, I had this new knee and I can't walk a whole lot. So it was interesting. That man pushed me around the ship, the biggest carnival ship there was. And we rode the roller coaster. We had a great time. I also built a Build-A-Bear. But it isn't a bear. It looks like a bear body, but it has a shark head on it with a little shark tail. I named him Jethro. He hasn't got a middle name yet. I wanted Jethro, so it might be the middle name. Evan, that's going to be our early kid. At least the first one. So yeah. So I want to talk about cruise things. But I really wanted to talk about one cruise in particular. And I do want to give a trigger warning. There is death involved. Yes, I said that right. There is death and cruise involved, and this is going to be a very special episode because this is one of the only reasons I would ever be caught in a Kansas City Chiefs jersey. And so I'm going to tell you a story about this special cruise that will never be forgotten by a large group of people. Because on this cruise, we lost a very special man. I'm just going to be honest with you. He was one of those men, and we're going to call him Mr. Bill because his name was Bill. I used to have him in the daycare for so long, and his wife is one of my best friends, and I would be, and his name was Bill. I was like, oh, Mr. Bill. And I was always making like Play-Doh things and sending him pictures going, oh, I made you. And it's like, And so we had I'm a Cowboys fan. He's a Chiefs fan. We argued all the time about that. But this guy was the most God-loving man, but also the biggest butthead asshole you knew. He was going to tell you what he thought. Now, he's a nice guy, so he's not going to cuss you out, and he's not going to be rude to you. Maybe a little rude, but not rude. But you just loved him. People hated him and loved him, hated him and loved him. One time, you're just like, want to pull his ponytail out. And the next time, you want to hug him because he's such a good guy. So anyway, this goes. I'm thinking there might have been 21 of us. I don't really remember, but we chose to, instead of driving down to Galveston from Branson, Missouri, we chose to take the church bus. They let us rent it for some money. I don't remember how much. I didn't have anything to do with that. And so Bill could drive. Mr. Bill could drive. Mr. Bill could drive. And then my ex, Michael, could drive. And my dad was going, and he could drive. They could all drive the school bus. They understood. They had their CDL. So the church let us rent it. And so we had this great time going down. It was his first cruise, I believe. And he went, excuse me, springtime. Sorry if you hear my chimes. We have these really big chimes outside, and there's nowhere I can really go that you can't hear it when the wind's blowing. So I will hopefully be able to take that out. So anyway, so we're on this cruise ship, and we're having a really good time, just the average thing. I mean, first of all, this man was not a man to like to take pictures. The few pictures we had from him, most of them were from that cruise. And it was pictures that we took. Grand Cayman, we were at the turtle farm. There were some really good pictures there of him and his family and his daughters. And, his son chose not to go. He didn't want to go on the cruise. And he's 18, I think. I think he was 18. I mean, he was old enough to stay home alone. And, we had friends home and stuff. So he had his daughters there, his wife, and his mother-in-law, because mom went in the son's spot. She went. So we were having a great cruise. At this point, me and my family and Dawn, and because she's went on cruises before with me, his wife, we've never missed dinner. We would go to that dining room. That food used to be just, we're talking years ago. I think we're coming up close on 12 years. I would have to look at my calendar. Time flies, So everything's going good. They've had a great time. We got on the ship on Sunday. Everybody was having a great time. And we're in Cozumel on Friday. And we all get off. And I remember we had 32 good taking taxis from there. Between daycare parents, them, cousins, my parents, my sister. There was 32 of us. And my daughter was with us. Thank God, there's so many memories there. So we're getting ready to go into Cozumel. And Mr. Bill wasn't feeling so well. And so, but he didn't want to take that day because remember I said he was a nice guy. So he didn't want to take that day away from his family, beach day. We're going to Chocanab. So if you know where that is at Cozumel, that's where we were going. So he said he had a headache and he wanted to go back to the ship. And I remember asking him, "Are you going to be okay?" And he says, "Yeah, I just have a headache. I'm going to go back and take something and lay down for a little while." And that was the last time we saw Bill alive. And we went to Chocanab and had a great day because we had no clue that he had died. We're at Chocanab having a great time. And he wasn't feeling well. And at this time he smoked, but he was a very healthy man. At least we thought he was. And he gets on the ship, thank God. And he didn't make it to his room. He had a massive heart attack in the hallway. And we're at Chocanab and we have no clue. Now, my daughter was not with me at Chocanab. My daughter went with my mother-in-law and my mother. She just didn't want to go to the beach. So she went with them shopping and to eat and all. So at the end of the day, after shopping and all, my husband and I are coming, my ex-husband, Mr. Michael, we're coming back on the ship and we're alone. And I trust my mother and my mother-in-law. They were two of my best friends. Now my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, Judy's in heaven. She still is one of my best friends. I'll do an episode on her, but it will get very emotional. So we're getting on the ship, and I remember seeing Dawn and her girls and her mom way up in line. I remember saying, "There's Dawn and the girls." So we know they're on the ship. So we get back on the ship, and we go to the very back, because what I like to do is I get back on the ship, go to the room, drop everything off, and I like to watch the boat go, leave port. So we go to the back of the boat, and we get some ice cream, free ice cream. Oh, when you go on Carnival, you go for the free ice cream. We won't mention how much I had last week, but we might have gained a few pounds from just the free ice cream. And the beignets, because you could buy beignets on this new ship, $5 for 6 beignets. We will not discuss how many I ate. Okay, let's get back to the story. So I see the girls, they're coming on, and we're on the back of the ship. Oh, this was my 9th cruise, and the reason I remember that right now is because I heard over the intercom my name. "Can Donna Meether please call 7777? That was the purser's desk. And I get up and I'm going over to a phone and realize this is my 9th cruise and I have never heard my name on that intercom. These people better not have, because we'd already left port. These people better not had left my mama and my mother-in-law and my daughter in Mexico. Because, you know, that was my first thing thinking. So we go. I don't need those. So we go. I answer. I call 7777 and told them who I was. And they said that my friend, Dawn, needed me to come see her in medical. So we walk there, and I'm like, oh no, somebody's broken their arm, you know, somebody's sick, because they do have medical. They have doctors on the ship. And just to let you know, they also have morgues on the ship. And so I go to the pursers, and this wonderful, wonderful person, Sabrina, and I'm still friends on Facebook with her. I might get to see her again one day. You never know. She told me that she needed me in medical, and she would take me down there. So we walk around, and we're at the top of the stairs, and I touched her hand, and I said, please tell me what's wrong before I walk in there. You know, I want to be prepared. We got to walk down some stairs. So she looks at me, and she says that my best friend's husband had passed away, and she was down there in the morgue and needed me. I almost fell down the stairs. My ex caught me. I don't remember walking down those stairs. I don't remember walking in that room. They tell me that I hit the ground, praying like I've never prayed before for them. And I couldn't believe how broken everybody was. I couldn't believe Mr. Bill was gone. But he was. It was just, I couldn't believe it. And we went through 2 days of hell. And Carnival made that so good. Sabrina took care of everything. And like I said, remember, Bill was not a picture person. And so one of the things that Michael and I decided to do was we went down and we tried to get all of their pictures, because we wanted to buy all their pictures, anything with him in it, because I still can't believe he's gone. And they said they'd take care of it. And do you know, a couple hours later, they showed up with this huge stack of photos and just gave it to him. And to call from that ship is so much money. And they just opened the lines up for my husband to call the pastor. Before we get off the ship, they had to know what was going to happen with the body. We had 2 days. 2 days, and we're on a ship. And she had 2 days to figure out what she wanted to do with her husband that just passed away. So we're down in the morgue. First of all, I didn't know they had a fucking morgue. And just shock and all. I mean, you can imagine. And so they just opened those lines, and Michael had to call. They had to figure out, I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to bury him? Are they going to, they had to find all of this out. So he had to call. He took care of it, because you can imagine her husband passed away. Nobody was able to do anything. The decision she had to make when she was in shock was amazing. I remember sitting in her hotel room with her, and there's really nothing to say. And I remember when my daughter found out, she is such a beautiful person, and she loves that woman so much. And she just walked over to her on the bed and just crawled up to hold my best friend. You know, and all you can do is just pray. You never expect someone to die, but to die on a cruise ship. And then his son's at home, and they had to, like, get the funeral home prepared that Mr. Bill was coming home and not on the bus. Oh, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this one. But I just think people need to know about Mr. Bill. He loved God so much. He was such a butthead. He's in heaven being that butthead with God right now. I'm sure of it. He's questioning everything he's doing. I can tell you he's happy about his Chiefs and happy about my Cowboys, 100%. But that we had to get a hold of. Dawn decided she didn't want her son to know instead of coming home, because we were getting them to fly home instead of coming on the bus, because it was just a nightmare. So, you know, I always tell you, you never know when life's gonna end. It might be on a cruise ship. It might be on a cruise ship with most of your small group, because we had a lot of people from church there. It might be running with your friend and trying to save her dog and somebody hit you. You just never know. So when they had the funeral for Mr. Bill, I did it. I did it just for him. The only time I will ever be in a Chiefs jersey was his celebration of life. My skin was burning, but I did it for him. 3rd-degree burns from that jersey on me, but I did it for Mr. Bill. He was laughing. And my best friend, she had a home daycare like I did, and she only had 4 kids because she was working on getting licensed, so she just had the 4. And for some reason, like God knew what was going to happen, I was licensed for 10, but I only had 6 kids at the time. And so when we came home, I was able to help her by keeping her kids that I knew. And thank God I was able to, like, even let her make the money, because money was not easy for her because they had no life insurance. So, you know, everybody's bitching about all this shit, and you just don't know when your life's gonna end. Just think of Mr. Bill. When he went on that cruise, Mr. Bill wasn't thinking he wasn't gonna come home. He was having a great time with his kids. He was having a great time annoying me about anything he could, because he knows he could. Mr. Bill was like a brother. That's how we acted. I picked on him just like he was a brother. So I just wanted to share the only time and the only reason I would ever wear a fucking Chiefs jersey, because of Mr. Bill. And I just want you all to know about Mr. Bill, and to know that life can be short, and just enjoy every day. See, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to thank everyone for all of the emails about the surgery. Went great. I think I'm fixing to get the 2nd knee done. The walking is still an issue, but I've went to the doctor for about that. So hopefully that's going to work out. So it's getting better. But I am getting stories from people. So I think I'm going to do a listener story soon. Probably better than my first one, because I am getting a little better at this. Hopefully. Of course, those wind chimes are going to be the death of me. So yeah, so I'm really hoping that Mr. Bill's story can maybe help you realize that I need to enjoy every fucking day. And I said fucking day for all of you think, oh, pretty people don't need to say that. You know what? I just really do not think. I mean, I've always been told, never take God's name in vain. And that's the one I really do. I mean, if people say it, that's fine. I just don't. But I don't think God's going to look at me and say, oh, Donna said fuck. It's a slang, people. I know when to say it and when not to. Unfortunately, This podcast is mine, and I might say it if I want. Mr. Bill might have looked at me a little sideways there, because he was a God-fearing man. Yeah, if you know what I mean. So, but also to let you know, my best friend Dawn, she's remarried. It took a while. It took quite a few years. But she's married to someone that's just like Bill. I'll call him a butthead because he moved her away. I mean, I moved away now, but he moved her away. It took me an hour and a half to get there. That's a 3-hour drive just to see my best friend. It's longer now. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to hope I can get those chimes to not be so annoying, because I don't know if I can tell this story again. But I love you, Dawn, and I love all your girls, and your son. I was just not going to say their names, and your mama, and you're always my peep. And I hope I did Bill some justice. He was a good guy that we like to thump in the back of the head. You know? So I think I've told you everything I know. And until next time, thank God you're not my child.